안녕하세요. Good morning. Welcome to the launch of Windows Server 2012. My name is Michelle Simmons, and I'm responsible for marketing and operations for Microsoft Korea. I've been here now just over 1 year, and what a year it's been. Last March, I stood in this very ballroom to share with you our private cloud offering. Since then, we've launched SQL Server 2012 and Azure. Now, we're bringing it all together with Windows Server 2012. In Korea, the virtualization market is growing at about 20%. Cloud is being adopted rapidly and gaining momentum in mission-critical applications. In fact, x86 server revenues have surpassed that of Unix, largely due to the growth of cloud. At Microsoft, we have unrivaled experience in building and running large cloud services, whether it's with our consumer offerings, such as MSN, Hotmail, Outlook.com, and Xbox Live, or whether our commercial offerings, like Office 365 and CRM Online. So today, we're pleased to bring all of that experience to life with our Cloud OS, Windows Server 2012, that brings together and offers the right solution for public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. With that, I'm very pleased to introduce to you our keynote speaker. As the Corporate Vice President of Server and Tools Marketing, responsible and overseeing Windows Server and System Center, Michael Park and his team have a mission to cloud optimize every business. Prior to joining Microsoft in 2005 to head sales and marketing of the U.S. Small Mid-Market Solutions and Partners Group, Mr. Park held key leadership positions at SAP and Siebel Systems, where he was responsible for the market and product strategy of business applications. Most recently, he led the worldwide Microsoft Business Solutions Group as the Corporate Vice President of Marketing, Sales, and Operations. With that, please join me in welcoming Mr. Michael Park.
안녕하십니까. 저는 한국말 그렇게 잘 못해서 오늘은 영어로 하겠습니다. You see, I'm not that good at Korean. Over the next hour, we're going to spend some time looking at IT industry themes. I want to explain to you the Cloud OS vision and why that's so important relative to what's happening in the IT business. And then I want to thread and tie the Windows Server 2012 foundation. Why is Windows Server 2012 such a critical element of cloud optimizing every business as we move forward? So let's look at the market trends and what's happening in the market. Cloud is definitely here everywhere you go. And why is that? This is being driven by the exponential growth of data. If you look at what's happening, data inside the enterprise is growing at 60% per annum and is not expected to slow down anytime in the near future. Modern application development, the incorporation of BI and social capabilities and new form factors of consumption of applications is also creating an explosion of IT need and data need. And then lastly, the consumerization of IT. People wanting to work on their terms with their devices is creating device proliferation that's also creating an enormous need for data. And cloud is a very economic way to enable the scale required to deal with all this data. And as a result of these trends, we're also seeing a transformation in technical innovation, in compute, in storage, and in networking. And it's the software that can bring these together in a way that can create business value and IT agility. And that's what we believe Cloud OS is. We believe that Cloud OS is a modern platform for the world's applications. If you think about what the OS has been in the past, it's managed resources and it's been a platform for applications on a laptop and on desktops. We believe that the OS plays a much broader role and a much more important role in the construct of the cloud OS. We believe that there's a new role for the OS in this cloud era. And we think the cloud OS must do 4 things for customers. Number 1, it must transform the data center. The unit of compute has changed from a single server to the entire data center. Customers need a generational leap to deal with the increasing business needs while managing in a deeply resource-constrained environment. Companies are global everywhere. Competition is fiercer than ever, and the economy is tougher than ever. And as a result, the business requirements are getting tougher and tougher on IT, while the budgets continue to be constrained, while more and more technology innovation is being put on IT. So the pressure that IT has to basically manage their infrastructure is becoming too complex. And we must modernize the data center to deal with that, to help IT. The second area is the enabling modern apps. People are using applications in different ways today. Analytics, social, multiple form factors, and the delivery of different vehicles push us to think about capabilities of apps in different ways. And certainly the need for speed is also pushing us to think differently about how we develop applications. And we need a modern platform to enable all different types of applications to be built. Thirdly, unlocking insight on any data. The cloud OS should take advantage of the amount of data that's increasing everywhere. And we must be able to merge relational data with non-relational data to gain insights that weren't ever possible before. Data from inside the company and data from outside the company. Lastly, we must power people-centric IT. We must have the ability to deal with the proliferation of the range of devices that are happening and allow our customers, our employees, to be productive on any device they choose. Now the challenge with that is we must do that while IT can easily manage these devices and securely deliver the apps and the data in an extended or mobile environment as well. So as we think about this, we think, well, what is it that we can do that can make this a reality? And this is our cloud OS vision. We think that companies today need a technology solution that is great at public cloud, that is great at private cloud, and that is great at hosted clouds to deliver on hybrid IT. Each cloud has undeniable importance. Public cloud allows for massive scale. Partner cloud allows for localization and reach and differentiation in a way that the public cloud might not be able to provide. And private cloud allows for resource pooling. So bringing together compute, networking, and storage to really make the infrastructure and the application platform much more productive and easier to manage than ever before. And our point of view is that the cloud OS is unique because we will deliver one consistent platform across all clouds, bringing together key capabilities where IT can manage seamlessly across public, partner, and private cloud. And we will deliver 5 key capabilities consistently across these 3 clouds. Flexible development, the ability to develop applications, not just .NET, but open source applications as well and into an environment. Unified development and operations and management. As we move forward in this modern era, what's very clear is development and operations will come together. And we need a management system to be able to keep development and IT management connected with one another and the systems that bring the applications together behind that. Common identity and security. Being able to manage consistently the identity of your people and the access rights that they have depending on who they are, what role they play, where they sit geographically, and even what devices they're using to access. Integrated virtualization. Bringing together virtualization capability around compute, networking, and storage built into the OS, not layered on top of the OS, so that it makes it easier and much more cost-effective for companies to manage their resources across private cloud, partner cloud, and public cloud. And a complete data platform. Integration using SQL Server with Windows Server 2012 in a way that you can have a consistent platform for how you're thinking about data and gaining insights from this data. And we believe this uniqueness delivered across one consistent platform will create a generational shift in our ability to help IT in the transformation that lies ahead. And at Microsoft, we've learned something about how to deliver these continuous services at scale. We run over 200 online services worldwide, 24/7 through our data centers. We run 5.5 billion Bing queries a month, 350 million Outlook.com mailboxes, 40 million active live customers, 24/7, all running through our data centers. So how to think about network isolation, multi-tenancy, priority of workloads running across these different services through our data center, that knowledge has been incorporated into the design of Windows Server 2012. And when we bring that together with the need of IT today, the pain that they're feeling, we think that we've got a great solution. And Windows Server 2012 marks 4 years of planning, development, and testing, all aimed at a product that was built from the cloud up. This is the broadest and the deepest Windows Server release Microsoft has ever delivered. This release powers the cloud OS, transforming and modernizing IT operations for any org. Be it a small organization with a server under the desk, a mid-size operation with a rack or a stack in a closet, or a global entity managing multi-data centers across the world, Windows Server has something important here for customers of all sizes. So let's take a quick glimpse of what some of our customers who are already using Windows Server 2012 have to say.
What we're seeing today with Windows Server 2012 is revolutionary. It's not just a couple little fixes, it's a huge release and it's a huge different experience than what we've had before.
With Server 2012, I think Microsoft has pretty much leveled the field when it comes to the hypervisor with virtualization.
Hyper-V Replica now allows us to move virtual machines through both our private and public cloud locations seamlessly while they're alive. We're seeing very significant performance improvement across the globe.
Our customers can run applications and services and actually achieve more in their business using the power of Windows Server and System Center together.
I don't see any workload known to mankind that cannot be ported to a Microsoft platform at this point.
Windows Server 2012 makes my life easier when I don't have to worry about things after hours. Things I know are running, they're solid.
With Windows Server 2012, we don't need to be concerned in the product development team about our maintenance windows.
Active Directory in Windows Server 2012, together with Hyper-V, virtualizing it brought so much more security.
With Windows Server 2012 is building a great foundation for the future.
So in the remaining time, what I'd like to do is drill into Windows Server in more detail and show you how Windows Server is the core element of our Cloud OS vision. And let's start with transforming the data center. When we think about the modern data center today, we've got to help IT become more agile, working under the constraints that they're under. And in order to do that, there are 4 key attributes that Windows Server must deliver on to modernize the data center for IT. Number 1 is scalability and elasticity, making IT more agile and responsive. In a modern data center, services must span many servers and rapidly expand and contract automatically based on demand in order to get the benefit of resource pooling. Shared resource is also super important. Improving utilization and cost efficiency by pooling the resource is a tremendous way to get benefits and synergies. Always up and always on. You know, we are living in a 24/7 world now that no longer allows for outages or even maintenance windows. And then automation and self-service. We want to take the work out of the job for IT by reducing manual tasks and providing self-service for IT to deliver within defined parameters, because this will also eliminate errors. The more we can take manual work out of the process and automate, the less errors there will be in your ability to keep always-on updates relative to the environment. And so when we thought about Windows Server 2012, we really focused on delivering enterprise-class scale and performance and virtualization. We built Windows Server 2012 on cloud principles to address the needs of the modern data center. 64 virtual CPUs and 1 terabyte of RAM per VM. 8,000 VMs in the cluster, the largest in the industry. This is more scale than most companies will ever require. 99% of the world's SQL databases can now be virtualized on Hyper-V Windows Server 2012, and that is just the beginning. We've also proven that Windows Server 2012 scales out at high levels of performance. But it's not just about virtualization. It goes beyond just virtualization of compute. We put software-defined networking in the box. Because as you're scaling up your virtualization of compute, you actually have to have multi-tenancy and your ability to isolate network traffic as well on key workloads. So we thought about how do we build that into the core system out of the box. And you can migrate applications onto a common infrastructure without changing the IP addresses, and you'll see some of that later today. There's some very powerful features here for the modern data center. Now, we really did think about the modern data center across compute, networking, and storage. And so with storage, whether you use SAN or industry standard hardware, Windows Server 2012 is a no-brainer. In the box, we deliver new capabilities, such as ODX, which offloads large data transfers to your SAN. And we also provide a new technology called storage spaces. It's a feature set which delivers enterprise-grade storage capabilities using standard hardware, dramatically reducing the cost of storage. The other area that's very important is continuous availability and management efficiency. And in here, we have new innovations like cluster-aware updating, transparent failover, shared nothing live migration, and Hyper-V replica. We provide the capability and availability and recovery of your services so that your end users never experience downtime. And that's a big deal. And we can also give you complete flexibility to migrate your VMs from your data center out to your service provider in a seamless way with a single pane of glass. The last area is really automation through server management and PowerShell. Whether you like to use the command prompt or you like to use the graphical user interface, these capabilities provide automation capabilities you've never had before. The commandlets that we deliver with PowerShell, we're delivering over 2,300 commandlets that allow you to effectively script automation in virtually any element of how you run your data center. And these are all very powerful tools. Now, I love this product, but our customers tell the story the best. So let's hear from a few of them and how they're using Windows Server 2012 to transform their data centers.
Availability is critical to us. We deal in very large-scale databases and data repositories. Some of the specific reasons that Windows Server 2012 was very exciting to us was in the area of file server capabilities.
With Windows 2012, I don't have to worry about file storage. It just works.
Where we're able to transparently take down a single node of the cluster have our applications automatically move over to other nodes. Then we have plenty of time to work on the node we just took out of the cluster, do our patching, do any type of hardware maintenance that we need, bring it back online, and then let Windows Server 2012 rebalance the loads. It's not just a couple of little fixes, it's a huge release, and it's a huge different experience than what we've had before. I would call it revolutionary.
What we see now is really an embracing of technology by students.
The student body coming in, they're really technically savvy. Our infrastructure is growing all the time.
Network infrastructure for the university has changed dramatically with this increase in laptops and these mobile devices.
Windows Server 2012 is going to help us a lot, transform the way we do some of our outages. With our Server 2012 Hyper-V environment, we have a lot more comfort in patching Windows systems than we do with VMware-based hosts. Now you can set at a cluster level to say, I want to patch this entire cluster, and you walk away and it does all that work for you. With Server 2012, I think Microsoft has pretty much leveled the field when it comes to hypervisor with virtualization. We're able to easily move our VMs from VMware over to Hyper-V now. With Hyper-V on 2012, it's right there, and then when you couple that with System Center 2012, you get this entire package that, for us, it's a no-brainer.
Outsource3 are a cloud service provider. We are based in the UK, but we have a global reach. Over the last 2 years, we've focused on being a pure-play cloud provider.
The way that we position ourselves in the market is we've got a very high-quality, enterprise-grade platform for business-critical applications and workloads.
Our customers can run applications and services and actually achieve more in their business using the power of Windows Server and System Center together.
Currently, in order to isolate our customers, we have to provision VLANs and subnet. With the network virtualization feature, we basically have the ability now to run multiple customers on the same hardware with the same IP ranges.
Customers these days really want flexibility, especially when they're looking at kind of hybrid model of cloud. They want to be able to move things, migrate things from on-premise to a hosting provider like us to Azure.
Windows Server 2012 brings us a huge amount of new technology, new features, new capabilities.
So Windows Server 2012 is not just about infrastructure and data center. It's also about how Windows Server and Windows Azure work together to power the Cloud OS and provide the best platform for the world's applications. When we think about the attributes required to do this, there's 4 key elements here. Scale. We have to be able to allow applications and resources to be deployed and scaled up or scaled down based on what the resource requirements indicate. It must be flexible and easy, providing a modern set of runtimes while leveraging existing skills to get the most out of the capabilities of our organizations already. It has to be extensible. We need to be able to carry a hybrid approach, essential for modern applications across the private cloud or spanning your data center and going off premises to data centers and services that might sit with partners or in the public cloud. And we must also address the realities of the new way to build apps, dynamic development life cycles. No longer can we afford to step away for 3 years building an application and then stand it up. We have to be in a much faster development cycle, involving the business with IT and development and operations to evolve the application faster, to get the input faster from the business and to deliver faster on speed, on time, and on value for businesses. So when we think about that, Windows Server 2012, combined with the fall release of our .NET 4.5 capabilities, delivers for the modern app developer. Windows Server 2012 supports programming language tools such as Microsoft Visual Studio and Microsoft .NET Framework, and these span on-premises and cloud environments. We have virtual machine portability that allows you to take your custom VMs and move them across private cloud, public cloud, partner clouds without re-imaging, without changing existing code. And we have an open environment. We love .NET, and we're going to continue to advance the capabilities of .NET with 4.5 and make it the best framework for modern applications. But we also know that it's not just about .NET. And with Windows Server 2012, other frameworks are supported, such as Java, PHP, and Node.js. They just work. And lastly, when we talk about scale and elastic infrastructure, IIS 8 is the most scalable web server optimized for multi-tenancy in the cloud. It enables massive scale with high-density web farms. Capabilities and technologies such as CPU throttling, centralized SSL certificate support, all these things make it easier for you to manage a multi-tenant environment relative to your apps. So let's hear from Rackspace and the success they're seeing with Windows Server 2012 and IIS 8.
Rackspace is a specialist in web hosting and cloud computing, and we manage IT infrastructure for companies of all sizes, startups to enterprises, and everybody in between. Customers look to Rackspace to give them a variety of solutions, a portfolio of capabilities. Customers want choice and flexibility and the ability to move workloads wherever they make sense, whenever they make sense. Windows Server 2012 is a key element in making sure that that platform continues to evolve. For big enterprises, they lean on Rackspace to manage a lot of their web infrastructure, big customer-facing websites, big e-commerce applications. We're really excited about the work that Microsoft's done to make sure managing large configurations in a multi-tenant environment in IIS 8 is really easy. We need to make sure that we can scale, that the configurations are easy to manage, that they can really offload some of the burden of our management teams, our sysadmins, really to the system itself. With IIS 8, we have a whole bunch of new capabilities, but one that I'm really particularly excited about is this CPU throttling capability. It gives us the ability to provide isolation around customer deployments, web servers that maybe are in a multi-tenant environment. One of the key concerns is having one customer impact another one from a performance standpoint. You don't want that. Windows Server 2012 is building a great foundation for the future.
The third pillar of our Cloud OS is all about unlocking insights on any data. And in the modern era, users and applications need to take advantage of any data, any size, anywhere. And with a universe of data expanding as rapidly as it is, we have to take advantage of being able to connect to the world's data in ways that we haven't to bring more value to your applications. And finally, users expect an immersive experience that's easy to understand and consume with their data, whether it's business users or IT pros and developers. So when we think about this with respect to Windows Server 2012, the Cloud OS delivers this. Anchored with Windows Server 2012 and SQL Server 2012 and Windows Azure, we're working together to combine these to create a complete data platform for your business, which allows you to do things like support storage and manage relational data with SQL combined with non-relational data in Hadoop. Tapping into fast-growing volumes of big data to ask new questions and gain insights in ways that you've never been able to do before, or that were cost prohibitive in your ability to bring these things together before. And lastly, most importantly, scale this capability out as extensively as possible with the most used BI app in the world, which is Microsoft Excel. Right? The goal is to make BI easy for everyone to use. If you look at the problems today, IT gets mirrored. They're weighted down in building custom reports for the businesses constantly. If we provide a common data platform that's easy to use, we can actually free IT in doing this kind of work. We can actually have easy-to-use insights being driven directly from the line of businesses themselves. And the training costs to do this are low because of the use and the productivity of Microsoft Excel as the front end. And finally, with Cloud OS and Windows Server as the backbone to it, this enables what we call people-centric IT, or more commonly known in the market as the consumerization of IT. And we're really thinking about how to deliver technology that meets the needs of the way and the expectations of how end users want to work. And the reality is that in a world of modern apps and social networking, people expect their device and the work experience to be personalized. And to get that kind of work done, people need access to their applications and data on any device, anywhere. And finally, IT's got the tough job to ensure that the company's assets and information are protected and well managed in this domain. So when we thought about Windows Server 2012, we really focused a lot of putting the person at the center and the personalized experience that they now demand, giving technology to enable that. Active Directory is the core solution for managing identity profiles. It gives you incredible flexibility to manage the identity of each of your people in the org, how they fit into the organization, what access they have within the firewall, as well as coming in from outside the firewall, and how they are a unique identity in the organization. And we've improved Active Directory with Windows Server 2012 with simplified deployment capability, with safeguards for virtualized environments, and more consistent management experience across both Server Manager and the PowerShell capabilities we were talking about earlier. And most importantly, we've extended Active Directory to the cloud with Windows Azure AD. So all of the policies you manage from Active Directory today will carry to the cloud as you flex your environment, so that you have, again, one consistent platform to manage identity and security across your private cloud, out to a partner cloud, and out through a public cloud as well. So you get to decide what gets synchronized where, and you benefit from a directory at cloud scale. Another area is what we call dynamic access control. You'll see more about this later today in some of the breakouts. It's a new feature that gives automated information governance on file servers. So it gives you the ability to automatically control and audit access to files and shares across your organization based on the characteristics of both the files and the users that are coming in to request those files, all in an automated state once you set the policies up. And Windows Server 2012 also provides a whole host of VDI improvements, including simplified deployment and remote FX capabilities, all designed to improve, significantly improve the experience to the end user. Let's take a look how the Bank of Montreal is leveraging the advantage of these amazing VDI capabilities using remote FX.
We have 2,000 plus people in 5 different major financial centers. Obviously, because of the distances and latency, we have specific challenges in providing them rich client interfaces and capabilities against systems that we host in Canada. And the only possible solution to do this is through application publishing in RDS or through a VDI infrastructure. We do consider VDI to be a very solid play. If the trader perceives any performance degradation, they just stop using it right away. The value proposition coming from Microsoft has improved constantly. With the release of 2012, Microsoft is really driving it home on all fronts. Remote FX played a significant role. We have a lot of market data display, a lot of visual indicators, and there should be no lag between that display happening and the ability of the user to react to it. We believe that this latest technology released by Microsoft is coming as close as it possibly be to a full desktop experience.
So we've shared some of the key product enhancements that we made in Windows Server 2012, and you've heard from some customers about how they're employing the software. Now what I want to do is bring out Claire Henry, Director of Technical Product Management for Windows Server 2012, and show you some of the cool functionality that we're actually shipping in this product. Claire?
Thank you, Michael. It's an honor to be here today. For today's demo, we're going to use Contoso, our fictitious company. Now, Contoso's experiencing a great deal of growth. So we're going to use Windows Server 2012 to help Ben, the administrator at Contoso, to quickly modernize his data center, help him keep up with the growing demand in applications, and help his employees be effective from anywhere and any device. Now, Ben, like many of us, has multiple devices, yet he needs to get work done when he's in public forums like this hotel. So today, I'm going to do the entire demo using the Windows 8 tablet and the remote desktop capabilities of Windows Server 2012. Now, I absolutely love the new Windows 8 tablets. I can stay connected with friends. I have a complete personal experience with my applications. I can also access my Contoso corporate applications. Here you see I have a list of applications, including line of business applications, such as AutoCAD and Dynamics. The first thing I want to do is access a report that tells me how the Contoso data center is performing. Now, I certainly could run Excel here natively on my tablet. However, the report I'm about to access has highly confidential data. Remote App is a perfect solution for this. And as you will see, we've embedded the Contoso permissions right in this document. Using dynamic access control, we've classified the document and encrypted it, making sure only the right people can see this data. Now, let me draw your attention to this report. As you can see, my finance application is really under some strain. I'm running out of compute, I'm running out of memory, I'm even running out of storage. Now, we want to make it really easy for Ben to go out and add capacity. For this, he really needs a complete desktop experience. Michael talked about some of the improvements we've made with VDI. The best way to show you this is to actually kick off a video. So I'm going to show you an upcoming release of Halo 4. What I've done here is simulated a low bandwidth, high latency connection. And you're going to see this is a pretty poor experience. It's slow, I'm barely getting sound, it's choppy. Let me show you that same experience now using VDI. Notice I have great touch on this tablet. I'm going to go ahead and kick off a VDI experience. I'm establishing a remote connection. Come up here in a minute. Kick off that same video now. Connection's established. And watch this. You'll see that I have great graphics. I even have complete touch where I can fast forward the video. I have great sound. The video is fast. Now we can really start to get excited about Halo 4. However, I want that same kind of experience to manage my data center. Now, what Ben needs to do is add capacity for his finance application and services. In the past, this would have meant ordering services, ordering new servers, bringing them in, configuring them, all dedicated to finance. Using Windows Server 2012, I'm going to show you how you can quickly add capacity. We're going to take a multi-pronged approach here. First, we're going to leave the database in the Contoso data center. Then I'm going to take the application tier, move it to my service provider, Fabricam, and lastly, I'm going to take the web tier and put it in Windows Azure. Now, when we talk to customers through the process of Windows Server 2012 development, you told us you wanted to virtualize everything. You wanted to virtualize workloads that were formerly considered non-virtualizable. Think dozens of cores, hundreds of gigabytes of memory are likely SAN attached. Let me show you how Windows Server and Hyper-V delivers. I'm going to take my database server, and I'm going to just quickly double the amount of processors available to it. Now, today I'm limited to these 3 powerful laptops I have behind stage, but with Windows Server 2012, we can support up to 64 virtual CPUs. This is industry leading. And of course, with that kind of CPU power, I probably want to add some memory as well. I can quickly take this machine from 2 gigs to 16 gigs. And again, with Windows Server 2012, we now support up to 1 terabyte of memory per VM. Now, this finance database is sitting on a shared infrastructure. I want to make sure that we have the necessary network bandwidth to serve its needs. Now, for a long time, we've been giving you the ability to set the maximum amount of bandwidth any VM can take. Now we can set a minimum as well, making sure that when the database needs it, it's available. So just like that, I've increased the CPU power, I've increased memory, and I've set a quality of service profile, right, all for this database. Now, if you remember the report, though, I was also running out of storage. And so, as Michael's talked about, with the really increased exponential growth with information and data, you wanted more storage options. You wanted to get more out of your SAN investments. With ODX, offload data transfer, and with virtual fiber channel, you can now take your VMs and directly connect them to SAN. But that wasn't enough. You wanted to get more out of industry standard hardware. You wanted to get more performance out of it. So let me show you this. I'm going to go into SQL for a minute, and you'll see as I click on SQL Server here, these are my databases, and what you would expect is these to be attached, direct attached storage, as indicated by C:, or D:. Instead, we're using an SMB share. Think of an SMB share as that centralized share you currently use for storing your documents and storing your videos. We can now use this for SQL. And not only that, we can centrally manage this storage right within Server Manager. With a new feature Michael talked about, storage spaces, I can take just a bunch of disks, pool them together, and create virtual disks for that, for my SQL databases, my Hyper-V VHDs, as well as my standard file shares. Now, I've used thin provisioning, and I've actually over-provisioned the amount of storage I technically have physically available. Not a problem for Windows Server 2012. I simply right-click, and I can add a couple physical disks here. I've got 2 4-terabyte drives. I'm going to have one automatically join the pool, and the other I'm going to create as a hot spare. And within just a few seconds, I've dynamically added storage with no downtime for my end user. So I'm feeling pretty good about my database now. I feel like I've added capacity. But Contoso, like many of you, are taking their line of business applications and surrounding them with new modern web applications. Yet, they don't always have the capital budget to quickly expand their infrastructure. So what they want to do is take advantage of their service provider, Fabricam. So in the next part of the demo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my application tier and migrate it to my service provider. There are 2 breakthrough technologies in Windows Server 2012 that make this possible. Shared nothing, live migration, and network portability, or network virtualization. I simply grab my application tier here, and I'm going to drag it over to my hoster. It's going to initialize the process here, making sure my network connection's right. And I simply click Migrate VM. Now I'm going to bring up a little tool here called our IP portability tool. And what you see is each of my VMs, my database VM and my application VM, have 2 IP addresses assigned to them. The first is the customer address. This is my IP address that goes with me no matter if I'm in my private data center or if I move to a completely new infrastructure at the hoster. The second is the provider address. And as you see this live migration complete, you'll see that the application tier retains its customer address, yet gets a new provider address. That is the new physical infrastructure it is moving to. Now, today I'm doing this over an SMB share. You could also do this using shared nothing live migration, meaning I don't have to have a single cluster. I don't even have to have shared storage. This is really breakthrough. Not only do you now only use live migration for recovery services, you can use it for maintenance. You can use it for adding capacity and moving VMs around. As Michael said, we truly have VM portability now. So that's great. I've taken my application tier and I've moved it to my service provider. The next thing I want to do is take advantage of the new infrastructure as a service within Windows Azure. I'm going to go over here to Azure. As you can see, a great new portal. And I'm going to quickly provision a new VM. Virtual machine, and I'm going to choose from the Windows Azure Gallery. It gives me a great selection of images to choose from. Windows Server 2008, SQL Server, and even some Linux distributions from our partners. You could even have your own custom images here. Of course, I'm going to choose my favorite, which is Windows Server 2012. Quickly assign a name to it. create my password. Now I could choose a size. It's kind of like t-shirt sizing from extra small to extra large. I'm going to choose a medium size here. I can also choose where I'd like to place this. Now, depending on what kind of storage profile I have, I also can define that. So with this capability, I can go in and I can choose a storage profile, which is the one we've previously set for Contoso. I also need to assign the DNS name. Click. Shows and does the auto check there. I can choose an availability set, and just like that, I've provisioned a new VM in Windows Azure. Now, while this is great, what we want to deliver to you is consistency. We want to make sure that you have a great self-service experience, no matter which cloud you're in. So whether you're the administrator, whether you're the application owner, or whether you are a developer, you want to have complete visibility across your clouds. With System Center and App Controller, we give you just that. Notice in Contoso, I can see in my Contoso private cloud, I can see my services. I can see them in Fabricam, my hoster, as well as Windows Azure. If I click on services here, you'll see that new Windows Azure, in a minute, you'll see that Windows Azure VM starting to provision. So there. Today, we've helped Contoso make sure that they can quickly expand their data center, can quickly add capacity through their hoster, as well as Windows Azure. But you know, I can't end this demo without a shout out to PowerShell. As Michael said, we've made great improvements in PowerShell. Going over here, back to Server Manager. In fact, in Service Manager, when you call on a command, you're calling on a PowerShell commandlet. With over 2,300 new commands, you can automate everything. And we've improved the syntax and the user experience, so it's really easy to get up and running on PowerShell. So simply type in a command, and you'll see that I've got all of those VMs running in that host. Thank you. You've been instrumental in the development of Windows Server 2012. You told us you wanted to make your employees effective from anywhere and any device. You told us you wanted to keep up with the growing demand in applications, making sure they can be always up and always on. Today, we deliver on those capabilities and so many more with Windows Server 2012, the cornerstone of the Cloud OS.
Thanks, Claire. Okay, you've heard from me, you've heard from some of our customers, you've seen what the product can do, but it doesn't stop there. For the better part of a year, we've actually been working with a channel to get the channel ready as well. Looking across all these channel types, I can confidently say that we are ready to help the industry, led by our partners, to begin the journey to bring this new offering into the market. On the hardware side, we have hundreds of Windows Server 2012 logo certified solutions available across server, networking, and storage. We have 8 Microsoft private cloud fast track providers. Partners, OEMs of ours that are going to provide reference architectures together with Windows Server 2012 and System Center 2012 that help customers get out of the box faster with a reference architecture, because we all know how complicated all those options actually can be. In the construct of service providers, the momentum's greater than ever before. We had over 400 attendees at our recent partner summit with 15 service providers that have already deployed Windows Server 2012 in production in their environments as part of our pre-release program. On ISVs, we have a strong pipeline of ISVs with thousands of current apps actually in development to get ready for the new platform that's coming here. And from transactional and service providers, they are ready to support you with Windows Server 2012. We have an unprecedented level of readiness and support capabilities we've been putting into the market. We have over 7,500 partner organizations worldwide that are already certified on either the management and virtualization competency or the server platform competency around Windows Server 2012. So we've gone through the themes of the market that are happening and the transformation that's ahead, why the Cloud OS vision is so important, and how Microsoft is going to deliver on that beginning with the foundation of Windows Server 2012. All this capability, when you compare it to other vendors, we've thought about it in a way that how do we simplify things and help customers move faster? With other vendors, you have to take the OS, add a bunch of other pieces and layers in to deliver. And actually, a lot of what you see is PowerPoint. What we're delivering today is actually refactored in the OS, out of the box, in the product today. Microsoft is committed to deliver. This release encompasses hundreds of new features, thousands of new capabilities, over 4 million hours of engineering investment, 600,000 beta customer downloads who've been helping us solidify the product through the beta process, and 300 early adopters who are already in production on Windows Server 2012, including Bing. All focused on one goal: be the industry-leading engine of the cloud OS to help companies cloud optimize. I'm excited to see what you will all do with Windows Server 2012. 감사합니다.
Come on together.